I also believe that people that miss opportunities and they say, oh, I'm not going to go to this like coffee date just to meet this guy and chat business, like I'll do it another time. By saying no that day, you could have actually pushed back your idea by a year without you even knowing.
Whoa, I've never thought about it like that.
So like you need to take those opportunities.
Hey, I'm Jamie, and welcome back to another episode of the Jamie and You Show, where I shine light on the amazing things people are doing, and through conversation, uncover unique insights that could inspire you or enable you to pursue your greatest ideas. While you're watching or listening, feel free to pause the conversation at any time and write down your favorite quotes, your favorite insights, and then share those with us. So if you're watching this, share them in the comments below. And if you're listening or you don't feel like posting in the comments, feel free to tweet me at Jamie and You. But let's get into it. Matt, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks very much for having me, Jamie.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Matt's a friend of mine, and we recently started chatting a lot about a new business Matt has started, and I'm really excited to chat about that today. Matt, the business is called Rewear.
Yeah, Rewear
and
it is.
How about you just kick us off? Tell us a little bit about Rewear, and then we'll take the conversation from there.
Yeah, so basically Rewear is in the e-commerce space for clothing. The whole idea around Rewear is to provide people with a second chance for their clothing, and the main goal also to make fashion more affordable in South Africa through high-end second-hand brands.
Cool, man. Can you talk a little bit more into the mic, just so that
sure.
this sounds a little bit better? That's all good.
So yeah, with regards to Rewear, we're a startup now been live for a month about, and yeah, we're seeing great traction with our website and just wanting to create that culture that secondhand clothing, I think in South Africa is perceived as being a bit almost left in the dark because it's secondhand, someone's worn it before, but at the same time, someone's only worn something once, and we're providing that opportunity for them to reclaim their value in their closets, but at the same time allowing someone else to source nice outfits, nice items at affordable prices, and at the same time, they're cool brands. So it does provide a win-win for the buyer and the seller.
Yeah, I mean, this business sounds really cool, and I've experienced it. But straight off the bat, when you hear about it, there's so many elements on the go. I mean, you've nailed down the description. I think you've pretty much nailed it. But it's really this unique opportunity where you as Rewear are providing this it's a platform in a sense where you're in the middle, and you are encouraging people to sell their clothing that they've pre-loved clothing. I think is the way you put it.
Pre-loved.
High-end pre-loved.
Yes.
And people then sell their clothing on your platform, and so they're winning because they're getting to sell on this clothing, and the buyer who is coming onto your platform, I think what's so great is like you're coming onto a trusted platform,
yes,
which is cool, and then the buyer gets to get a really good deal,
yes,
on some really good item of clothing,
yes,
and I mean, that win-win is just right. It's kind of like so clear what the value proposition is for all the people involved.
yes.
And yeah, I mean, at the moment, how are how are things going? Firstly, I mean, you said it's been going for, just let me know again how long it's been going for, and then like how are things going, and what are your plans to build from here?
Yeah, so we've been live for just under a month now, so about 3.5 weeks, and I'd say based on our first few weeks, it's going very well in terms of people actually transforming their way they think about it. So as again bringing back secondhand clothing, it's coming more into the light as being perceived as something that actually is still nice, which is the main culture we're trying to create in South Africa. We're trying to create the circular economy that allows people to buy, resell, and rewear. So I could pretty sure say that we've been doing really well for the first 3 weeks. I'm quite
Congratulations,
surprised.
man. That's massive.
Very happy. We've got sellers taking us on and developing that trust with them, which is also really fun and exciting at the same time. And in terms of sales, they've picked up quite a lot. And obviously at the start, you're not going to expect to see loads of sales coming straight off the bat, because you need to still develop that trust with your clientele. And at the same time, provide efficient and fair service to them as the buyer and the seller. And it's very interesting for Rewear because we are now catering for the seller and the buyer. So it's not just the buyer where we just have consistent stock from a supplier, for example, overseas. We actually have to also source the stock ourselves. So yeah, it's very interesting with that aspect.
You use the word trust a lot, and I really appreciate that. Your ability to realize that this is a trust building exercise, and that the longevity and success of your product is about maintaining trust, not just with people buying off your store, but the sellers that are trusting you to sell their stuff.
Exactly.
It's such a big part of it.
And as Rewear is consignment based, obviously we still don't own the items when we keep them in our warehouse, but we do need to provide them security that the items aren't going to get stolen, and that we will keep them safe, look after them until they have been bought by a buyer.
Right.
And at the same time, with that trust as well, you have to, especially with the new e-commerce website, also in terms of user-friendly aspects of how the website works. I know you mentioned when we had our payment gateway that it did look a bit dodged, but then we looked to improve on that. So it's also a lot of groundwork in terms of speaking to your actual customers and people that are adopting it at an early stage and using that to also improve your model and push you further into the market, because you need to keep moving. Obviously, there's no, it's not stopping anyone from just suddenly trying to do something similar to what we're doing.
Right.
But the way we see it is if we keep pushing forward, we keep learning and moving in the right direction, it's only going to get better. In a sense that we just want to become the trusted platform for high-end second-hand clothing.
And I don't feel it's forced from you. I feel like you genuinely do care about this trust stuff.
Exactly,
and I genuinely feel like you are open to hearing feedback and you listen. And it's interesting. You've got this good balance of, you've got the vision for what you want it to be, but you're listening and you understand that like you're not going to build this platform by staying in your own head and sticking to your guns. You're going to build this platform by making a service that people love.
Definitely. I think, especially speaking to the people that are adopting the business at an early stage, you need to have trust in them as well, because they believe, obviously to a certain extent, that you're onto something that could be successful and help them and provide them with a service that suits one of their needs. And it's been great. It's like just meeting clients and having some positive feedback is always a good thing, just for even morale in the office and also motivating the rest of the Rewear team. Like, it's fantastic. Like, we've really been enjoying that to a certain extent as well. And obviously you have to take some things with a pinch of salt. Some people have their own views of how you should exactly do it, but at the same time, it's not their business. Like, you got to just take it here and there and like combine all these good pointers and combine them into your own version of something great that's going to serve the market.
I mean, what you're touching on is the extreme version of what I was saying, where you're listening and you're really trying to make the best service. The extreme version is you try to be the perfect thing for every single person, and you end up getting pulled in so many directions. But it's your responsibility, I think, as the person who's running the business, it's your responsibility to filter all that feedback and then actually make the decision that's best for the business long term, which then ultimately is best for the customer long term.
Exactly.
There's that responsibility. I mean, I think also, like as a designer of anything, so essentially you're designing a product and designing an experience here. And I think if you're a designer of anything, you need to be considerate of the people you're designing for, 100%. Like, you need to be considerate of those people. But you also need to realize that as the designer, you maybe know how to design something better than the people you're designing it for. And that's what they're paying you for. Otherwise, they would have just designed the thing.
Exactly.
They would have, if other people could design and create this thing in South Africa, they would have. But you are the person who's kind of taking in all the different inputs. You're speaking to people, you're understanding how to build trust. So you're the one who's doing it. So you need to, own that and then kind of go forward by, maintaining your input into the process rather than just going along with, what everyone's asking for. And it sounds like that's how it's going for you.
Yeah. And I also find, in terms of some experiences I've had with some businesses, they think because they're the only ones providing a certain service that they know everything. And I just bring it back now to some students. They get their degree and they come into a new job with the attitude that they've got a degree, they know everything. But like, it's not really like that to a certain extent. Sorry, Jamie, it's playing the hearing myself back.
Let's see if we can sort this out. Cool, and we're back. Matt, you just want to pick up where you left off?
Yeah, so I was going with the fact that students, not so particularly speaking about anyone in specific, but some people come into a new job and they've got their degree and they have this attitude that they almost know everything, when you should rather come in with a humble attitude and be open to always being a lifelong student. You're always going to know something that maybe someone else doesn't know, and the same for them. They're going to know something you don't know. So if you actually open yourself up to that attitude that you want to learn more and continue to improve yourself as an individual, then the opportunity is on the table. And just like a business, you have to continuously discuss things with your employees,
Right.
and you have to discuss things with your customers and get as much feedback as you can. Because at the end of the day, if you have a larger sample size and you get comments and reviews from all of them and you use that to redo your website or improve your model, it's going to be a lot better than if you had, per se, a sample size of half the size.
Right.
So you just need to almost have the attitude that, get out there, expose yourself, don't be shy. Like, I'm on this podcast now and I'm like, I don't like cameras in my face. But like, you got to try things, put yourself out there, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, because no one else is going to do it for you these days. Like, most people cannot even look after themselves, and you're worried what other people think about you. So it's quite funny, but like, you just got to keep pushing.
Yeah, Matt, I love your attitude. You said attitude a few times there, and that's what it's about. Like, the attitude, it's the learning mindset. Like, I don't know, I definitely don't know everything. So everyone I meet probably knows something I don't.
Yes.
And it would be wrong for me to be arrogant to think that I know more than I do. So that, like, humbleness is so important. And then, man, I think I tend to agree with you, like, putting yourself in situations and trying new things and, like, putting yourself out there. I think that's also in support of learning. There's like this humbleness to say, I'm going to put myself in a situation so I can learn new things. And what I love about that is, as soon as you extend your comfort circle in that way, now your comfort circle is so much bigger.
Yes,
so like
exactly.
The next thing you're going to do is going to extend your comfort circle a bit more and a bit more, a bit more. And like, then you're on your way. It's that mindset. Once you tap into that mindset of, I'm comfortable putting myself into some things that are a bit uncomfortable, I mean, you're off to the races then. You're really setting yourself up for success.
And I mean, when you put yourself in these situations, most of the time, it's just you deciding that you're going to do it. And it's not that much effort, actually. Maybe it takes up some of your time, but then if you really want something, you will prioritize and make it the time available. Because, lots of people have these excuses. I don't have time for this or that. But people are just building up excuses in their head for reasons why they shouldn't pursue what they actually really want to do.
Right.
And that's why you just got to do it. Like, when I first looked to go towards the clothing market on the e-commerce perspective with Rewear, when we were named Rewear before Rewear, I at some points didn't even know what I was doing. But you had to take that leap of faith. Otherwise, you're going to end up working for someone else's dream and not your own dream. And that's also what keeps you going. If you're working for something for yourself and you keep going and going, learning more, networking, and you get positive feedback from what you're working on, then you're in the perfect place.
Yes.
And you just take that as your stepping stone and you just keep growing and growing from there. And no one can stop you. If you keep going, like, you're on a roll. It's going to be a snowball effect.
Yeah. The snowball effect is so powerful. So, I mean, you're kind of touching on how you can only really learn through the doing. And I think that's what you've been able to do. I mean, you and I, we've chatted about other business ideas that you've had in the past, back in the day. We were chatting about other ideas, and you weren't, in those cases, you weren't talking about an idea that you'd like to do. You were talking about an idea that you were doing. Like, you were always in a doing mindset.
Yes.
And like I kind of feel like that's also with like Rewear and like stuff, like you were always doing it. You weren't talking about doing it.
Yeah.
So like, and then while you were talking about doing it, you were talking about like being in that moment of doing it. And that whole time you're learning and learning and learning.
Yeah.
So maybe like how did that transition go from when you first thought about this the Rewear idea, and then how did you end up now on this Rewear idea?
So it goes back to, again, with the fact that you should always just look to get yourself out there and speak to different types of people to get different feedback and learn different things. And one of our problems with the old website was I didn't have too much experience with regards to payment gateways. And by chance, we met someone, and through that, they actually developed into business partners with us. So now obviously Rewear is with, not many people know, but with a company in South Africa that's very successful in the e-commerce space. And yeah, the founders of that company have provided us with this mentorship. And I can tell you right now, the mentorship aspect of it, the human relationship that we've developed with them is way more valuable than, let's say, someone just giving you a cash injection. Like they've given us themselves as who they are as individuals, and that's allowed me also to ask as many questions as I can. Sometimes I do feel bad because I'm asking so many questions, but like you have to, until they tell me to stop, I won't stop. So like you just got to keep learning all the time and pushing. And like we've been really happy with the progress we've seen in the last week, and now just us chatting now, it motivates me again that next week can be even better.
Yes,
there's always room for improvement and pushing harder and harder until you reach your goals. In the end of the day, because we still are in a proof of concept phase where we are trying to prove that the model will be viable for the long term. And I mean, we have to actually earn money off this as well. So it's been very exciting. You just got to keep going forward.
I really appreciate like how driven you are, man. And that thing about what you were saying there about asking so many questions is like you've got your eye set on expanding this business and making it bigger and stronger, and the way you're going to get there is by like plowing your way through stuff. And the way you're plowing your way through stuff is part of that is asking questions, like saying, I'm trying to get here, help, like what would you do? How have you done it before? What's maybe the easiest way to do it? Should I jump over this obstacle? Should I bash through this obstacle? And I think that curiosity is super important, and that's what you're doing, but it's curiosity with a purpose. It's like, I'm trying to make things happen here. Like, give me the answers, guys.
Yes, exactly.
And I think it's important to have, I think those characteristics are important, but I also think you want to be like partnering up and meeting people who will facilitate that process for you, which is like want to answer your questions as well, and want to talk about stuff. I'm sure you could meet people who maybe aren't as receptive.
Yes, of course. And even just think about this. If you have a new idea that you're wanting to get out to the market, and you always have been, even while you're preparing your idea and it's not even a proper business yet, you're speaking to people about it and getting their reviews and comments on it and feedback, which is really crucial. But at the same time, you also need to think that you're developing strong, trusted relationships with, even if it's just your friends. Now think if you've got a huge group of friends with a huge circle, and you suddenly bring this idea to the market based on their network as well, they could help you get your idea out a lot faster than someone else would with, for example, that just didn't network or didn't meet people or put themselves out there. Like you, just by not going out tonight, possibly, I'm not saying more of a networking perspective, maybe I could meet someone that could help Rewear jump to another phase of our business life cycle just by going for drinks. Like I also believe that people that miss opportunities and they say, oh, I'm not going to go to this like coffee date just to meet this guy and chat business, like I'll do it another time. By saying no that day, you could have actually pushed back your idea by a year without you even knowing
Whoa, I've never thought about it like that.
So like you need to take those opportunities. And I've been struggling with obviously trying to have a healthy work balance. At the same time, I love networking with people because that is where I get lots of my ideas from. Not like necessarily getting a direct idea from someone, but as I said, taking the pieces here and there from someone and you put that together to make one good version of an idea.
Yes.
And that's all through getting yourself out there. Like human interaction is still so key. Like even with all this technology and everything, people are getting fake. They're living for this Insta life, this or that, but they're not being genuine to who they really are.
Yes.
And
you can't fake it if you face to face with someone.
You can't. Yeah. And people will be different how they are online.
Right.
I don't know. It's very... I like Instagram as well and stuff, but I mean, some people, they use it for different things, I suppose. But at the end of the day, you need to meet with them in person and actually get to know them as a genuine person. And then if you develop that trust, they will open up to you more and you may get more insight into a great idea they have.
Right.
And you can help them, they can help you. So I'm all about also mutual beneficial relationships. Like if you're willing to help me, by all means, I'll take my whole Saturday and go help you, because you also you're learning something else.
Yeah, I like that, man.
Because you don't know everything.
Yes. I also get that from you. Like, I'm glad you included that, like you said it explicitly, but I don't feel like you're kind of like using people along the way. I don't feel like you're kind of like stepping on people and trying to climb up this ladder, like, and use it. Like, I genuinely feel like you're reaching out to people, as you said, in a mutually beneficial way.
Yes.
And I mean, like, if we just look at it even in a simple way, like meeting up and experiencing like just a hangout with someone in and of itself is a good experience anyway.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like, hey, you're interested in what I'm doing? Let's hang out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it can lead to something like great.
Yes.
Just from one, like, as I said, like we went for one coffee with someone and it made us change our whole name. We launched a new business. And imagine I just didn't actually push to go for that coffee with my friend Dylan as well. If we never pushed to go to that, like, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah.
And that's why if we missed that, it could have only maybe happened in a year's time and someone else would have been on the Rewear bandwagon way before us.
Right.
So it's just all about taking those opportunities now. Like, just make the plans happen as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think, another thing on that is like really act on the impulse you have to pursue something.
Yes.
So like, don't wait a week. Just don't wait a week. I've had times when, in many different contexts where I think to myself, this could probably wait a week, or I could maybe do this another time. And then things change quickly. Like things change, like maybe those people, like if you had not gone for that coffee, like maybe the next weekend they're busy, and then the next weekend they're busy, and then they spoke to someone else about a business idea, and then they go help them.
Yes.
It can happen so quickly.
Very
I think
quickly.
we think that things will kind of stay in order and the world will wait for us, but it won't.
It doesn't.
And also like that whole thing about momentum is that if you're constantly building on your momentum, I think it builds a bigger, like we spoke about the snowball,
Yes.
but also starts to build a bit of a bonfire. And then like it's really cooking, it's really heating up. And then it's such a big bonfire that more and more people are getting involved. There's something quite special about that, continuing with that momentum. And you stay energized. Like I'm sure, like if you're thinking about your business, often you're going for these coffee chats, like those people giving you energy.
Exactly.
You're getting more pumped about the
Yes.
brand and the idea. That's actually
Literally.
I've never thought about it like that,
You
man.
use
Like,
it to keep,
yeah.
like if I'm like feeling down because I don't know, I found being like a young entrepreneur in terms of the sense of being young is not being an entrepreneur for long. There's ups and downs. There's like big ups and downs where some days I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is not good. But then I'll be like, cool, let me go for coffee with someone I know, but not too well. Chat to them, and then usually, they have great feedback for me, and I'm like, cool, I'm back on track again. Like, let's kick the rest of the day, or like tomorrow's going to be a way better day. And it sets the tone for the rest of the week, and it allows you to get that re-injection of energy, motivation, willing to like push harder and harder. Sometimes it's nice because people on the outside that don't see what you're doing all the time, but they see your progress. It's nice for them to sometimes tell you that, look, like what you're doing is actually really cool. Like, you're making progress. Like, I've heard people speaking about this or that. And like, that's one of the best feelings ever. And also, like, I don't mind working like 12 hours a day sometimes. It's because it's for me. It's my passion.
Yeah.
And like, no one else is going to take that away from what we're doing at Rewear, because it's only us as the team that is producing all this work, and no one else. And like, we've got like the three of us with my photographer Nick, and then Dylan, who's the head of operations. We've got such a good like bond between each other as well that we don't even have to worry when one of us is speaking to someone else about Rewear. We don't have to worry that like, oh, Nick or Dylan, they might say something wrong about Rewear, but they don't, because they also strongly believe in our vision. And like, it comes naturally when you have a passion and a vision and you believe in what you do. Like, the words roll off your tongue.
As they're doing right now, man.
Literally.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, so yeah, some pieces there is, the vision for what this brand is, what it does, it's really clear. I kind of find that more and more is you have to lock down on that vision.
Yes.
And like, just, I mean, it becomes like such a cliche, but it's the truth. Like, don't make up. So this is the thing. Don't make up a vision just so that you have one.
Yes.
Like, so don't try reverse engineer or force a vision. Really feel it out. Like, it must make sense. And the vision must just be it just must be clear. But then once you've locked on that vision, things can flow pretty well from there.
Yes.
However, I also think there's that element that you seem to have found the right people. You've surrounded yourself with the right people, and maybe there've been some past projects that, even though they've been great people that you've worked with, perhaps, I'm not talking about anything specific, by the way. I'm just kind of like, fleshing out this idea. But perhaps, when you work on projects and you might be working with people who are fantastic people, but something just doesn't click, or, there isn't a perfect sync between the people. I mean, like, I've worked on just like little side projects, fun things that I get up to. You work on some things with like really good friends of yours, and like there's a very good connection with the people, but there just isn't a good connection between the people, or all the people, and the idea and the vision. Like, there just has to be a perfect sync. And maybe like you could work on an idea with people that you don't have maybe as much connection with the people, but it's that combination of the people and the idea that all locks together.
Yes.
And then that's when you set, is when that stuff all locks together. So there is that element of like serendipity and chance that comes along with that. Like, definitely I think it's important, like, keep building your network, like hang out with a lot more people so that you're increasing the chance of that thing happening.
Yes, for that occasion.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I obviously believe that you can sometimes get a bit lucky. Like, I don't necessarily believe in luck completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
how do you see luck?
I'm going to say like a really cliche line here. But
Go for it.
Luck is basically, it's actually preparation meeting opportunity.
That's important. Say it again, man. Because the thing is, if anyone hasn't heard that, like the first time I heard that, it clicked. It really clicked.
But
So
like,
say it again.
Preparation,
say it again, man.
Like, creates opportunity. And it can be in a sense of anything. Preparing, like, you can be making coffee dates with people to go chat business and stuff. That's your preparation. And then that person may click with you, and that's the opportunity that's being created. It's simple.
And people would look at that and say it's luck.
And you cannot say, oh, it's lucky you got like a coffee with this person, or that. Like, sorry, I actually I pushed it, and I made sure they were there, and I made sure I was on time, and we had a great coffee.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't cost you much.
Yeah.
You just need to get yourself out there. And also, a huge thing with people these days is they're worried what people think about them.
That's massive, man.
And I won't lie, like, I've always been one into my clothing and worrying what people are going to think of me and all this, but like, I don't really care anymore. Like, it's more about creating a difference and a culture in what you're doing, and like inspiring people. I believe that so many people have so much opportunity locked inside, but it starts with them. Like anything, if someone wants to try cut down on partying or something, it starts with them. You can tell them as many times as you want, like, just take it easy or something, and they're like, okay, but it starts with them.
Of course, man.
And yeah, I struggled with just sometimes working on small projects that weren't even linked to Rewear, but things that I actually just found that I didn't have a huge passion for. And that also brings you to the fact that when we're young, you should expose yourself to as many different experiences as you can, because that in its sense also helps you find what you're meant to do. I believe like we are like all on this planet to perform a great purpose, but you need to get yourself out there to find it quicker than someone else may find your passion before you, and you'll actually never even know that that was your passion.
Right.
Obviously, you can have a passion in like clothing or cars or whatnot, but like there could be a great lifestyle linked to it that if you just got yourself out there, spoke to different people, were humble in a sense that you don't know everything. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. But like everyone can learn as much as they want. There's nothing stopping you from speaking to like 7 people a day.
Yeah.
And even just messaging random people, hey, you want to go for coffee? Get yourself out there. But at the same time, people are worried what people think.
Right.
So just like go for it.
Yeah, that holds you back. It holds you back. The thinking, the caring about what other people think holds you back in like so many more ways than you realize. Like what you've said now, like you could learn so much from so many people, and you could live this really rich life of so many different experiences. You could find people talk about finding your passion, but the point is like finding your passion means that you literally find out what your passion is, and you can't find that out without exposing yourself to new experiences.
Yes.
Like I remember chatting to friends like a while back. I mean, we were like really just starting off as, finishing up studies, young professionals, and exploring this idea of, it was actually when you were just starting working, I think. And we were talking about this concept of like, if today, we spoke about a long time ago, so I'm interested to like hear your thoughts on it as well. It's the idea of if today wasn't the most satisfying day you think you could have, and you can feel it, man. Like you can feel if you had a good day. If you had a bad day, you can feel it. So if today wasn't that day where you felt delighted, you felt passionate about what you're doing. If today wasn't that day, then you haven't found your passion. Like you're not doing what you should be doing, right? Okay, cool. So if today wasn't that day, how are you going to find that day? And the only way to find that day is to do a lot of random stuff.
Yes.
Do lots of different things, because that's the only way you're going to find that day. And without doing that, you're literally just waiting for it to come along.
Yes.
Which
exactly.
is, I don't know if it will come along if you just wait.
No, not at all. And like, you just got to expose yourself to new experiences and expose yourself to getting out of your comfort zone. And just like with getting out there, also people are too afraid to expose themselves to failure.
Yes.
Now, failure
that's caring about what other people think as well.
Exactly. They tie together. And failing is also actually a key tool. Like I believe with our old website, the model was a failure because it didn't show signs that it would be sustainable for the long term. It wouldn't scale as properly. And like, I'm glad I still did it, but I considered our old website as a failure. But that's why we've got ourselves out there. We met the right people. We learned things from them that we didn't know because we don't know everything. And now we've created a model that has a lot more of a promising future than it would as opposed to the last one.
Right.
But that came from getting yourself out there and also not being afraid to fail. When I was building that old website, I'd wake up some mornings being like, what am I doing? This is like risky as ever. Still today, it's risky. It's just like, you're like, what am I doing? And like, this is now life. We're growing up. We're not so dependent on our parents anymore. And
it's a big risk. But so you're saying even now you're feeling that?
I feel it a bit still, of course. Like obviously, I personally think we're doing well now, and I'm happy with our progress. And you also got to think, just like what we're chatting about now, people even that do vlogs and blogs, they do it for about 3 weeks, and they're like, why is my audience not growing? Why aren't people taking notice? Like even if you are onto something great, and you say what you're saying like makes complete sense and people can relate to it, you have to give it time to grow. You have to give people time to accept this new concept. It's not just going to be like, bam, this is a new concept. Like everyone's going to suddenly take it on. You have to push through that barrier. Just like when some guys try to grow their hair long. They have to push through that awkward phase, and then they got their long hair. I can't do it. But like with the business, I'm like, I'm going to push.
Right.
Like some days I feel absolutely in the dark, but you just got to keep pushing.
You got to push through it.
Literally.
You got to have something that you feel like you could stick to for 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Yes.
I think that's really where like you crack through it. I think with a lot of the projects I'm starting to like entertain and get involved in, stuff like that. I mean, even this podcast, even the show we're doing right now, the idea is I'm thinking this is something I want to do for 5 years.
Yes.
And I really hope in 5 years' time I'm still doing this. And I can only assume that if I'm not doing it in 5 years' time, something serious changed. Like I had a complete change of heart. I had different interests. It can happen. Like, don't get me wrong. But my intention is like a 5-year intention.
But like from you doing this now, so you working on your podcast, even though this may not be the thing you want to do still after 5 years, it could get you onto that next level to meet the next level of people, if it makes sense. Yeah. Because they see that you're taking this seriously. They see you know what you're doing. They've heard what you're saying is actually valuable to people. Then it maybe will allow you to move into a different industry, but you've got that backing that you've done something. And I find I speak to a lot of people and they're like, I'm going to do this business, this and that. I'm like, cool. Like, so like, where's your, like, do you have a website or proof of concept? And they're like, well, I've kind of like now got a business plan. And what I've just learned now, if I was in the future per se, I wanted to be an investor in a startup or something, I would want to at least see a working proof of concept. And I think people, that comes again to people being worried about what people think. Yes. But you need to create something as quickly as possible, get comments, feedback, and then you make it better, and then you put more money into it, or you get more backing from someone or whatever. But it all stems from the fact that it starts with you, basically.
Yeah, and I like that thing about the proof of concept. Like, what is the fastest way that you can get to the proof of concept? That's really the question you need to ask yourself, because so there are a few reasons why I think it's valuable. From what I've observed and like seen through other people and also through my own stuff I've been up to, is that a few things come from it. Is like the first thing by putting the proof of concept out is you find out if people actually care about this thing. So you find out if people if it resonates with people, and if it's something that people will want to use, consume, whatever it may be. As we said earlier, though, that might take a bit of time.
Yes.
So yeah, cool. But I think with things that some things do pick up pretty quickly. If you just put it out there, you kind of see it in the environment, and then you can get a feel for it. Then the other thing that comes from doing the proof of concept is that you actually find out if you want to be doing the thing.
Exactly.
Rather than just like talking about the business. Oh, it'd be so cool if just stop thinking about it. You're wasting time. You're wasting energy on this thinking. Like, go ahead and do the smallest version of it. Do the proof of concept. And then you figure out if you actually want to be doing the thing. Because maybe you don't like it. Like, maybe you start, like, imagine you have this idea for Rewear. You start speaking to people wanting to sell their clothing. And you think to yourself, I don't even care about this. Why am I doing this? Like, which didn't happen, right? Like, you actually found out that you did enjoy it. But if you had found out that you didn't enjoy it, then you could just stop there and there. You could stop thinking about the idea and move on to something else.
Don't do it for the Instagram bio. Like some people.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, I mean, don't do it. Don't do it for those vanity things. Don't do it for
You need to have you need to be able to wake up at 6 every morning and not ever feel, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I love going into the office, and my dream is one day with Rewear to walk into a huge room of employees, but not in the sense that because they're working for me. It's because you're creating new relationships, you're creating work for people, and you're creating a movement. Like, our goal is to create the circular economy in South Africa and to make secondhand clothing the number one option.
Yes.
But because we are focusing rather on our values in terms of trust and authenticity, we want them to provide a safe place for them to sell their clothes, and at the same time a safe place to buy their clothes. You want to take the suspicions out of buying, basically.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about that. How do you build trust with the buyers?
So we value ourselves at Rewear as being authentic. That's our main aim. We have an authentication team that goes through all the items individually in terms of if they actually are genuine brands, if the item is still actually able to be reworn by someone, because you don't want to wear something that's got a hole in it here or there or not. So we're very strict in terms of what we accept on our website. And it's been hard. Some sellers say to me, but like, why can't you take this brand and stuff? I could, and I can't make everyone happy.
So you're turning people away, sellers away.
Because they want certain brands on our website, but we can't, because I'm trying to create it for more of the higher end brands.
Yes.
Because higher end brands for a second-hand price is still very cool, even though they've been worn once or twice by someone.
Yeah.
Like, there's no difference.
So
I wear second-hand clothing.
Okay, so how's this? How's this? So what I love about the fact that you're turning people away, like, that isn't a bad thing. Like, I think it's so great because it means you are curating the experience. You have something you stand for, and you have something you stand against.
Yes.
And what you stand against in this instance is you say, I don't think this marketplace of secondhand clothing of maybe lower tier brands needs to exist. I think I want to create this platform that's a curated experience for the customer who's coming to buy the higher tier brands.
Yes.
And right. So that's what you've decided. That's your mission, is to create that higher tier space. Like, you'll choose where the tier is. Maybe over time this might change. Like, who knows? But at the moment, you're curating a specific experience, and that means you're saying no to some things.
Yeah.
It's so valuable, and that's kind of what ties into what we were speaking about earlier, about you getting all these inputs, people saying, well, why don't you sell? I mean, there are probably people who've given you reason why, saying, yeah, you should bring in the lower tier stuff because of this, and I'm a seller and I'll give you this. Yes. There's been people trying to convince you that you could do it, but you've decided not to, and that's so important.
Yes, and it's nothing against the clothing they have or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm just staying true to what we want to create. We have our own vision, and it's our business, so we can create our own vision to a sense. But at the same time, I do like getting feedback from people, but you can't make everyone always happy. You can't satisfy everyone completely. And like, we're building something, we have a vision, and we're going to stick to that. But at the same time, you will get people that maybe want to veer it in a different direction, but it just can't.
Yeah,
You just got to keep pushing.
Yes. No, I love the businesses that I notice that I really respect. They say this is what we're doing, and then they strongly say this is what we're not doing.
Yes.
And that's important. And like, there are some businesses there are some businesses that say what we're doing is we're doing everything. There are some businesses like what they're for is everything.
Yes.
So they are like, so, the big like retailers, like if you look at something like Amazon, they're like, they just sell like everything you can think of.
Everything store.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they're for. But then if you're creating something with a specific vision to create a little niche there, to create something of value, you need to be turning down other things, saying no to things, so that you can maintain what it's set out to do.
Yes.
And also be front of mind to people as well. I think that's also a big part.
But the reason why we are being strict is because I want to create that trust for the buyer. They need to know that what they're buying, even though it's pre-loved and it's been maybe worn once or twice, or we do have products that have never actually even been worn, the pristine items, that they're buying something that is in basically like top nick. It's perfect. It's been authenticated. Cool. There's none of that suspicion in the buying. It's gone. And we have to say no to people in order for us to build that trust for the buyer. Right. But at the same time, we do build the trust with the seller, but we also educate them to a certain extent through our seller tutorial, what brands we accept, what brands we don't.
Yeah.
So we're not closing off any information to them as to what we're doing and not doing. It's all there. I will tell you anything. Yeah. We're transparent, honest, but at the same time, it's nice. People are some people actually also had items to sell, but unfortunately we didn't accept them. But at the same time, they told me, Matt, like, I can see what mission you guys are trying to create, what vision, and that's also cool. Yeah. So they actually still respect and appreciate you, and it's through honesty. You need to create a business that, for example, my uncle always said, you need to create a business that you could sell the next day. Everything needs to be honest. Everything needs to be in form, in check. Like, no, like, underground dealing kind of thing. Like, just be honest to your market, and they'll be honest to you. Yeah. And it's also how you choose to take that honesty from them is also your decision. Like, if you want to react to them in a inappropriate manner or whatever, that's your choice. But you're just going to have to, it's also, you got to not think of what they're going to think of you. At the end of the day, you got to stay true to what you want to create. Yeah. And if people like it eventually, maybe they'll come back and sell some nicer clothes.
I mean, I think, there's something about that, the authenticity, the transparency. It's so important. Like, we're transacting with each other here, man. Like, that's what's happening with your store. It's like there's so much trust involved. Like, I'm offering you this, you offering me that, you're offering each other services. That transparency and that trust is essential to it being a success. And like that's why the focus on that is so important. And I think people respect people who are authentic and transparent. Like that's how you build respect, basically. So it would be way worse if you, for instance, were not telling the complete truth about why you would or wouldn't want to take a certain brand, because you didn't want to hurt those people's feelings. In the long run, they would be like, hey man, you should have just told me straight up. Like, why don't you just tell me straight up so that I could at least then learn what you're about. Exactly. And then I can buy into your idea. I think people try please everyone, and as a result lose trust with everyone. Like it's a weird thing that happens. Like you build trust through that authenticity and transparency, and also respect for the other people. That's what it's about, man. Like, you respect the other people enough to be transparent. Yes, that's why that's a big part of why you would do it.
Yes, and now that you've said why, just coming back even to a book I've read, Simon Sinek speaks of the golden circle, and it's basically how you as an individual or a business can communicate to your market, but in a sense that he speaks of the golden circle, and it's got why in the middle, how and what. And what he's basically saying is that most companies communicate from the outside to the in. So what we do, how we do it, why. Okay. For example, Apple. We make the best computers. How we do it is through like our
Yeah, our research, our
resources,
manufacturing,
like our increased resources, and why? So we can like make money. Actually, we're Apple. The reason why we're here is because we wanted to provide a laptop or a piece of technology that's quirky, user-friendly. It makes your day easier. How we do it is through our super motivated team that are looking to always improve, learn, and provide you the best experience yet. And what we do is we sell it in our shops. We bring it to the market in that sense. So even with us and our team, we always have discussions about it. The main reason why I wanted to do Rewear is because I love clothing and other people love clothing, but clothing is very expensive, especially your high-end brands. But through Pre-Loved Goods, you can wear high-end brands. So our main goal, why we want to do it, is we want to make fashion more affordable in South Africa, because when you dress good, you feel good. And we want everyone else to feel good as well. And at the same time, we also want to provide an effortless way. That's why we're doing it. We want to provide safety for your clothing because, these high-end brands are expensive and you want us to get a safe return of your item. But at the same time, we did it because we wanted to provide you a safe platform. The likes of Gumtree and stuff are cool, but at the same time, they don't provide that safety.
Yeah.
And even with things like payment, now you don't have to worry that your money's going to get lost or whatnot. You'll get a notification from us, like Rewear's paid you out. It's safety and it's trust.
And I love that those are your pillars. Those are your guiding principles.
Yes.
Is trust, and that trying to make things affordable and transparent and easy, and that's your why. That's sitting at the core. And you can imagine that how you end up delivering that, the how and the what, and you've manifested there. You've decided that in order to achieve the easiness and the transparency and the affordability and whatnot, you've created a certain system. They pay you. There's your model where you hold on to the clothing and then you sell it. And your whole model has been built around serving the why.
Yes.
You didn't go the other way around and think, let's build a place where people can sell secondhand stuff. You thought, like, why should we do this? And it's like, the reason is because other services that are available aren't serving this need well enough. I mean, I think what you've said before is this thing about serve people's need and the rest will flow from there.
Yes.
You've mentioned pieces of it, but how do you really feel like Rewear's serving people's need, and how have you noticed that then has like a ripple effect from there?
Well, in terms of the main fundamental need that we saw was that there's not a secure platform to sell your clothing on, but like your nicer clothing. And I've known people to sell items on Facebook or Instagram and whatnot, but that's still a lot of effort. But at the same time, we wanted to provide that effortless experience and still allow you to get your returns at a quick rate. So obviously, as we are a startup, sales aren't right up there right now, but we believe we will get there through taking on more sellers, getting more stock, so people then will have items they will actually like on Rewear. But it's just working on the effortless thing.
Yeah, so you realize that there needed to be this marketplace to serve what people were actually already doing, but it just wasn't good enough.
Yes, and we wanted to represent your items in a professional way to actually bring out their true value.
Right.
Because
and that's a service that you're providing people.
And we also provide the service from doing extensive research on all the brands. Just from this past year, I've known a lot about clothing brands just from a personal interest. But now, just from a year, we've been researching heavily into clothing, materials, all of that. And we want to be seen that we're going to provide you with being the experts in secondhand clothing, that when you give your item to us, that in X amount of time, let's say 2 weeks, you'll have money in your bank account.
Yeah.
From doing a seller submission, getting your items collected, the rest we worry about. You don't have to worry about anything. So and that's how our model's built on.
It's such a good service, actually.
Yes, so we're trying to provide the human need to sell your clothes, and we believe that Rewear is there to serve that human need, that there isn't really a trusted place in South Africa to sell your clothing, and more specifically your more your nicer pre-loved clothing, the items that you'd actually still like to get a bit of money back for, instead of maybe being forced to give it to your mate or something.
And let's talk about the response. I mean, have you heard people talking about their experience with using Rewear? What are people saying?
Yeah,
because it's happening. People
yes.
are buying and selling stuff.
So people love the concept. I mean, obviously, I don't want to ramble on and say we're like this successful company or whatever, but like it's going in the right direction that it wanted to.
I mean, just say what people. I mean, what's the truth, man?
Well, I think it's going fantastic. People they're loving Rewear. They're loving our website. We did focus heavily on just in terms of having a user-friendly website. We don't really want you to be faffing around on our website trying to figure out how do I sell a item.
Yeah,
we've educated you through our seller tutorial, and then all you have to do is submit your item. So it's also more. It's an ease for a seller in terms of selling their clothes, but it's also a pleasure for them to do it on our website.
Right.
It's not difficult. And we obviously still do have issues we would want to improve on, and we already are aware of them, but it's for now, people are liking it and it's working for us.
And from the buyer side?
Our buyers, we've had a good week in terms of the buyers, and they're really happy. Their feedback's been, mainly our marketing's been through word of mouth, and we're starting our marketing campaigns on Facebook next week. But just getting their feedback, they said that I'm so glad I found out about Rewear through my mate, so happy. And like I've even taken it on that I still use my personal number to chat to my clients, because you need to develop that bond with your clientele.
Yeah.
They're not even they're part of the community. They're part of the Rewear community. They also believe that there is a chance for items to be part of a circular economy where we can reuse fashion. And there's nothing wrong with pre-loved goods.
Yeah.
Because you'd also tend to think that people that have higher end goods, they look after them. I look after my jackets, always make sure they're hung up. Well, not right now, but it's been a busy week.
Things are wild at the moment, man. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I just love it so much.
I mean, I can be like, I can add to this to say, I bought, obviously, yeah, I bought some sneakers, some Nike sneakers off your website. And my experience was great. And I've told you this before, but just to share it, it really was, it's just, I mean, I come from a software development background. I'm a user experience designer. As far as experience goes, I think about it a lot. It's part of my profession. And
yes. You've got an eye for it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm involved in it so much, man. So for me, I can really talk, I really enjoyed the experience. Like the experience of Rewear was really good. Like I jumped onto the website. It's really easy. My experience of it was I went I just filtered men's shoes size. Yep. I was just men's shoes size. And then there, I'm looking at the products. It's only nice stuff. So I was like, okay, let me take my pick from the nice stuff. I see these Nike sneakers. I say, I'll have those. Click. And the checkout experience also, as I said, from being a user experience designer, software developer, checkout experience is such a well documented, thought about thing. People have been doing e-commerce checkout for a long time. By now we just go copy the best don't go copy the best. Go and find out why the best are the best at that experience, exactly. And then copy it with that understanding. But as far as my experience of the Rewear checkout experience, it was seamless. It was just boom, boom, boom. You're out. You're done. You paid. Sorted. And that's great. So it kind of goes to say that just get the basics right. You're an e-commerce website. You come on, click, you're done. It's oh man, it was really cool. So I just wanted to add that in, the genuine experience from someone who's experienced it. It works really well. Get the basics right. So that kind of ties back to you've got your strong why and your how and your what. You're just nailing those thereafter. Yeah. Get those right. How you actually delivering this thing. So that, I mean, execution is still important.
Yes, if you've got it, is key.
It's key, man. You can have a really good vision, but if you're not going to be able to execute on that, it's useless. I mean, up until this point in the conversation, we've been talking a lot about how good the idea is and essentially if you hadn't started this, it would be about how good it could be. That's all we've been talking about. But actually, it then comes down to executing.
Yes.
And actually getting it right.
And having that self-belief.
Yeah.
I hate it when people say, I think it's gonna work. Like
Yes.
it will. You need to back yourself as well.
I feel
As an
strongly about that as
individual,
well, man.
You need to back yourself. I say to some people, it's not in a sense that you don't need to be vain or cocky or anything, but you can be cocky with yourself. No one knows what you're thinking. And you got to back yourself. You can do this. Like, you need to push yourself into those situations you don't want to be in, but back yourself. We're all equal. We all can do the same things if you put our mind to it. So you just got to get out there and just stop worrying.
Yeah, I mean, my theory is like, back yourself. So have that self-confidence and that self-belief.
Yep.
Like, if you can't have it for yourself, who else can have it? And the thing is, it's easier to believe in someone who believes in themselves.
Yes.
Right? So like, if you back yourself, it's easier for me to back you. And then that's a compounding thing, because then you're going to back yourself more because I back you.
Yes.
So you got to kind of start with, okay, the self-belief thing. But then, not thinking about it, actually just going ahead and doing it, and not dwelling on the idea, but going and executing, backing yourself. And then it's really like, that's where it starts to build out from there.
Yeah.
But I think, you can't take lightly the fact that you also need to be, you need to educate yourself on how to make stuff happen as well. And like, you can learn that, from doing, of course you can, but go out there and observe, like, why is this business, like, why is this ice cream business doing so well? Like, let's go observe. Let's understand the practicalities of supply and demand.
Yes.
Let's go understand the practicalities of an online business and a payment portal. If you have a good experience on an e-commerce website, why was that a good experience? How can you recreate that and emulate that? The power of execution can't be like undermined.
No. And like, as you say, exposing yourself to things these days, lots of things are free. Podcasts are free. Books, you can get free online books or borrow books from friends. All of those things are free, but if you expose yourself to that content, there's so much content out there for each industry now, that if you are willing to learn yourself, you can do it. There's nothing stopping you from starting a podcast. There's nothing stopping you from starting a business.
Just
all the
yourself.
knowledge is out there, literally. Like, everyone can do it, but you just have to take that leap of faith, or just push a bit, make some time for it. People say, oh, I don't have time, I've got my normal job still and this and that. Obviously, it was a bit easier for me because I did quit my job completely and I backed onto my savings a bit. So it did make it a bit easy, but I was always planning on starting my own business.
Prepared for
so
that,
you made
man.
this provisions, preparing for that opportunity. But like, you just got to expose yourself to, even if you're sitting in your flat, instead of watching series, maybe expose yourself to some YouTube content. Yeah. That's about what you're interested in. If you're interested in vlogging, watch some videos about vlogging, how to improve, how to better your camera angle. Small things like that can always push you onto that next level. And then again, it pushes you onto that ability to maybe link up with that next group of people, the people that are a bit more serious about what they're doing compared to the people that still have it as an idea and it's a business, but it's not really. Like, they're just talking about it and not actually doing.
I think that thing about educating yourself, being intentional about that education, like, watch stuff, like, try and prove yourself. In your downtime, how are you using that to not just entertain yourself, but also learn some new things? I mean, you can. I mean, the way sometimes it can get a bit overwhelming how much you can learn, and I've had to catch myself sometimes where I'll be pretty driven and say, I'm gonna watch a lot of videos, I'm gonna listen to a lot of podcasts. Every second of my day is gonna be learning. You can get like that. I mean, and there's so much content. You can't run out of content. No. You could only just run out of time. So I found myself getting to that point at times, and then I go on a bit of, and here's the other thing, is that the fault with that is that you can be consuming so much all the time that you actually then never producing. Exactly. So you just need to go on that every now and then, go on that content detox, stop listening to stuff, stop watching stuff, and actually go make and do and experiment. Like, you can watch 100 tutorials on how to make a good e-commerce website. But if you're actually not trying to sell something online and actually giving it a go, you'll never know how to really do it. You'll only find out, through doing. So you need it, like, part of educating yourself is doing,
Yes,
not
doing.
just consuming.
And also learning how to be constructive with your time, because I know
Yeah.
Apple now with that new function, they have that screen time.
Yeah.
So they
Do
tell
you
you
use
how
it?
long. Yeah.
You do it.
And
Oh, man,
mine's
I've never
on-
done it.
Mine's on like 6.5 hours a day.
Wow.
Obviously, I do look at my website a lot on my mobile and all of that, but
Yes.
at the same time, it's a lot of Instagram and social media.
Yeah.
I'll just imagine if you, instead of using 6 hours of your day on Instagram, imagine you're reading constructive articles about your idea or your business or what you're wanting to do.
Yeah.
6 hours a day is a lot.
It's a lot of time.
But you on Instagram looking at people's stories, this and that. I'm a victim to it, so I'm just not really saying anything.
Yes.
But
You're
I've
not
been
lecturing
trying to
anyone.
cut it out. Like simple things, like even the first hour of the day when I wake up in the morning, I try not to look at my phone.
Epic.
Use it as an alarm, but I turn the
Yeah.
alarm off, and then I just leave it on my bedside table.
How's that going?
It's going well, not on the weekends, but in
Oh,
the
yeah, of
weekdays as
course.
well, because I like to get up really early, plan my day out, even journal or read some books, or like that's your like times just to like get your day on the right track, build that foundation for each day,
Yeah.
and then you use that to like propel off and do a proper day's work.
Yes.
Obviously, some days you have days when you're highly motivated and you get through a lot of work. Then some days you're not as motivated. But the nice thing is also, if you work on something on your own and it's your business, if you one afternoon you really feel like you're not working, you just go to the beach, get your head clear, and then work into the night, or have a really
Yes.
hard day's work the next day. It's as simple as that. You take control of your own life.
And also the
And-
key there is like, don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling it, really don't feel it.
Yeah.
Go and like,
Yeah, but
go
I
and don't
struggle
feel
with
it.
that. I'm really hard on myself.
Yeah.
So in the end of the day, it's also maybe being hard on yourself is a good motivation to always keep pushing. Like personally, I don't think our website's good enough yet.
yeah, man.
Like,
But the thing is, that's
But
good,
it's
right? Like you're
'cause it's
always
gonna
trying to be
motivate me
better.
to
Yeah.
Find ways to make it even better
Yeah.
until there's not like one complaint.
Right.
Like obviously, you always are going to have those customers that will have complaints. It comes with any business, but it just matters how you deal with it, with your customer relationship processes and all of that. And you can use that once again. You can use that as feedback to improve again and again and again. There's always room for improvement and moving into a different direction, maybe even a different market.
Yeah.
Like we have plans to go into even different things with the Rewear. Not going to
Oh.
say now, but we have ideas.
Yeah. And I think you, I mean, man, from what I've heard today and like what we've spoken about before, I think you really are set up for success in those other markets when you start dipping into them.
Hopefully,
Because I think this core idea built around trust, like once you've got, I mean, you can't take trust lightly. Like once you've got trust, you can do a lot of cool things.
Yes.
It's really something worth investing in, not to exploit that trust.
Mm.
And that's, I mean, I don't think that's what we would be going for there, but just to build that trust and then use it. I mean, like, there are lots of, I mean, that's what a good brand is. Like a good brand is a trust that's been built up over time, so that you know when you buy from them, you have a good experience, you get a good product, and then if they're going to do something new, you'd rather buy that new thing from them than from other unknown people.
Exactly.
that might serve you just as well. But
completely.
yeah, but trust is about, intentionally going for the trust, but also that consistency over time, delivering on that trust
Yes.
over time. Yeah, so it does sound like you guys are set up for that success because of how tightly linked trust is to your model, essentially,
Yes.
which is really awesome.
Yes. And it's just being willing to do that groundwork. Like speak
Yes.
to your customers. Even like take the chance and go for coffee with some of them. Like they're not gonna get that creeps out. Like you're trying to better the experience for them.
Yes.
You want to hear what they say, and I'm pretty sure lots of customers actually they value that. They like to know that their thoughts are actually valued and they're actually going to be taken into consideration to making the Rewear experience a whole lot better, which I like. So, no.
Nice, Matt. It's been amazing having you on the show
Yeah,
today,
no
man.
problem at all.
Thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciated it.
Great. Happy to come on again.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'd love to have you back sometime for sure.
Yes, for
Definitely. Thanks all for joining. If you are, once again, if you're watching, please share those quotes, those insights with us in the comments. If you're listening or you don't want to jump into the comments, please tweet me at Jamie and you. Matt, where can people find you? Should they visit your website?
Yeah, so our website is just www.rewear.co.za and our Instagram is also at rewear.co.za.
Amazing, man.
Cool.
Check out Matt's stuff. See you next time.
Cheers.